As CEO of the Colorado Springs Sports Corporation, Tom grew the Rocky Mountain State Games to record numbers, ran the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb.
Today we have 100 of the top riders and drivers, and I just want to say good luck today, and I want to see all 100 riders and drivers back down here in the afternoon. So have a great race, be safe.
And the Colorado Springs Sports Hall of Fame banquet, just to name a few. But before all of that, there was Montana and the Big Sky State Games, a vision the middle school gym teacher had in 1984, realized in 1986 with the first ever Big Sky State Games Festival. 12 sports and 3,000 athletes in that first year. Tom had big ideas to grow the games in those early years, like bringing in world-class athletes to light the state games torch. In the 1980s, Edwin Moses was the country's most iconic track and field star. A three-time Olympic gold medalist, he declined a trip to Billings in 1989 because opening ceremonies fell on the same night he was to attend the Pan American Games in Seattle. Tom guaranteed he could get him to both, without really knowing how, so Moses accepted. First, move the torch lighting ceremony here in Billings up in the show. Second, enlist the help of the late U.S. Senator Conrad Burns, who at the time was chairman of the Powerful Communications Subcommittee, to line up a Learjet. Then, factor in the time change on the West Coast. Mission accomplished. Edwin Moses made it to both Billings and Seattle on the same night. And rumor has it, Edwin convinced the pilots to let him fly the plane. May of 1990. Then-President George H.W. Bush is holding a campaign rally at Dela Stadium to promote his message on the war against drugs. Somehow, Tom is able to contact his chief speechwriter in Washington, D.C., and this is what the crowd heard that morning.
I am so very happy that so many of you could join us this morning in this Dela Stadium, home of the Big Sky State Games. Cycling, golf, handball, shooting, swimming, tennis, track and field. Sounds like a weekend at Camp David. But how come no horseshoes around here?
That's just how Tom was. Tell him no, he'd find a way to make it happen. His success led to being elected president of the National Congress of State Games in 2003. He was part of the Osborne family that collectively played a huge role in the local sports community. In many ways, they were the first family of sports in Billings. Father Bill was the head basketball coach at St. John's in Minnesota in the 1950s, and the first ever basketball coach and athletic director at Billings Central in 1949. Pat played basketball for 3 years at Montana State. Doug, 2 years varsity golf at Eastern Montana College. Sister Mary, tonight's torchlighter, two-time All-American at Stanford in javelin, earning a spot on the 1980 U.S. Olympic team. Jeannie was a swimmer in high school. Catherine found her competitive spirit in sports later in life as a swimmer in the Masters division, earning medals along the way. Jan was the first ever employee of the Big Sky State Games and went on to a 30-year career working for both U.S. volleyball and soccer in Colorado Springs, as well as Major League Soccer. Will, the youngest of 8, made his mark in sports in high school in track and field and basketball before a knee injury sidelined his college plans of playing basketball at Montana State. As for Tom, 4-year letter winner in basketball at Eastern Montana College, 2 years golf, inducted into the MSUB Hall of Fame in 2000. As much as Tom loved sports and the Big Sky State Games, it could never match the dedication and love he had for his family. Wife Amy and their 2 children, Ellie and Ben, along with grandchildren Charlie Rose and James Bridges. That's the T.O. we miss most. Tom Osborne, a true Montana treasure and founder of the Big Sky State Games.